Hey there. So, I just want to do another video, and I kind of do confess. I must confess. I just want to do a video. I like this feeling. Do a video. It's like, okay. I mean, some of it is kind of like, okay, but there's a little drive, a little spark in there, I guess. Some of it's habit. I formed a habit now. Might do definitely give myself time away from it. Recently, I've been listening a lot to Andy Squires, got his book. I got a sweatshirt I'm still waiting for in the mail. Uh, what's that one say? Something about cult quitter or something like that. But I have other things. Maybe I looked back. I admit I looked back in one of my older videos when I was reading Mary Oliver, and I actually thought to myself, there was a little more magic, not comparing who I'm reading at all. Just when I first began reading poetry and how I read it, yeah, it was a little better. I won't lie. Even though I was mispronouncing words and stuff or having a little difficult time. I mean, this book's been around my desk area for a while. Why I Wake Early, New Poems by Mary Oliver. I found one that's only a month too late to read. It's called November, and it's December now. The time I'm recording this video, it's December 4th, I do believe. So I'm only like, I don't know, 5 days late. But I think November is close enough to what's going on in December as far as the subject matter here seems to be snow. And we've had some of that recently here in good old South Dakota, where I've lived the majority of my life. For the most part, yeah, that's mostly true. Excuse me. You can blame that on drinking Health Aid kombucha, orange creamsicle. I have some odd taste. I guess I like things that are fermented. Sauerkraut, kombucha, yogurt, other fermented stuff. Kefir, I think. That's kind of expensive there. Expensive habit because these things aren't cheap. If you want to support uh, my healthy habits, I would appreciate that. I promise that was not premeditated. That was like so off the cuff. I kind of actually deserve your support. Thank you. God, kind of actually do. I've been reading poetry, and I know sometimes I suck. Sometimes I do a good job. But if I feel I do a good job, occasionally I will, what do you call it? I can't even think of words. I'm kind of tired, kind of okay. Maybe I should have just opted to go to bed. Promote, that's the word. I have promoted a few videos, but I decided kind of against it for a while because it kind of creates a false scenario for my channel. It makes it look like I have 23K subscribers, and I do. Yes and no. It kind of seems like it's kind of a no based on watch hours. But I guess if I'd rise to the top more in an organic manner, I probably would have numbers that reflect whatever my subscriber base is, whatever it is. We don't have to be big here. We don't have to be small either. Not trying to ride some platitude of don't look at me or look at me. Either way, I'm here, and if you like me, that's great. If not, that's great too. You don't have to watch me, of course, but let's go ahead and read. It's from Why I Wake Early, like I said before, New Poems by Mary Oliver. Page 63. November. The snow began slowly, a soft and easy sprinkling of flakes, then clouds of flakes, in baskets of the wind and the branches of the trees. Oh, so pretty. We walked through the growing stillness as the flakes prickled the path, then covered it, then deepened as in curds and drifts. As the wind grew stronger, shaping its work less delicately, taking greater steps over the hills and through the trees until finally we were cold and far from home. We turned and followed our long shadows back to the house, stamped our feet, went inside and shut the door. Through the window, we could see how far away it was to the gates of April. Let the fire now put on its red hat and sing to us. Now, I don't think I honestly had the right cadence for that. I don't know. Do you want me to read it again or just let it go? How I read it, I'll probably let it go because you probably don't want to hear the same thing second time. I tell you what, we'll read one more poem. And I'll try to maybe either call it quits after that. I mean, for now, or come up with some other conversation points or conversational points. Or I could lie and then read another poem after the second one. This morning I watched the deer, page 49. This morning I watched the deer with beautiful lips touching the tips of the cranberries, setting their hooves down in the dampness carelessly. Isn't it, after all, the carpet of their house, their home, whose roof is the sky? Why, then, was I suddenly miserable? Well, this is nothing much. This is the heaviness of the body watching the swallows gliding just under that roof. This is the wish that the deer would not lift their heads and leap away, leaving me there alone. This is the wish to touch their faces, their brown wrists, to sing some sparkling poem into the folds of their ears, then walk with them over the hills and over the hills and into the impossible trees. Turn the page, and that was the end of the poem. Because I honestly didn't really know. I don't think. I don't know. I'm going to read Why I Wake Early, kind of in commemoration of the fact that I am going to wake early tomorrow to be at work at an early hour. Probably earlier than most. Why I Wake Early. Now, I would read this in the morning, but hey, I got to get ready when I wake up. And I have done a little bit of that. And I really, at this time, this venture, I can't risk rushing to work because I got to do a video. Honest to God, that's maybe some other time I can kind of. Right now, I don't feel like that's right for me to try to rush a video or even just get up even earlier to do a video. I'm pretty dedicated, but I'm also kind of fairly dedicated to the process of being reasonable with oneself too. So I'm still going to read it though ahead of time. Why I Wake Early. Hello, sun in my face. Hello, you who make the morning and spread it over the fields and into the faces of the tulips and the nodding morning glories, and into the windows of even the miserable and the crotchety. Best preacher that ever was, dear star, that just happens to be where you are in the universe, to keep us from ever darkness, to ease us with warm touching, to hold us in the great hands of light. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Watch now how I start the day in happiness, in kindness. All right. Well, so yes, I do kind of feel the magic. I have read this before, this one I'm about to read. So yes, I'm reading way more than I said I would. Logos. Now let's not quite pronounce it that way. Or not. Sorry. let's say it differently. Logos. Why wonder about the loaves and the fishes? If you say the right words, the wine expands. If you say them with love and the felt ferocity of that love and the felt necessity of that love, the fish explode into many. Imagine him speaking and don't worry about what is reality or what is plain or what is mysterious. If you were there, it was all those things. If you can imagine it, and I lost my place because I thought I'd make eye contact with you. If you can imagine it, it is all those things. Eat, drink, be happy. Accept the miracle. Accept, too, each spoken word, spoken with love. All right. Well, one of my favorites is also Simone Weil. Somewhere in this book, there is a, what do you call it, a journal entry, which is kind of like a poem, but also kind of like an essay. But I know not what page number it is, but I know it's called The Encounter, and I know I've read it before. I know I have it in my notes. And in my notes, I may even have a page number to the book. I think I could have it earmarked, but no, I don't do that. Let's look up The Encounter, and I could be wrong about what that's called. Simone Weil, maybe? Which, by the way, is actually spelled quite differently than how it looks. Simone Weil, which is actually the last name is spelled Weil. But don't you dare say it that way. Well, I know I have made a copy of this in my notes. Encounter. Well, let's put Simone Weil in here and see what we got in my notes. Which is going to be really weird. I can't. My thumbs just don't do it. Oh, an encounter. But it is in my notes. I wanted to see if it was in here on page 65 and 66, like my notes say. So I can read it from the book rather than read it from my phone. Yes, it is on page 65 and 66. Except in the book, it's not called an encounter, it's called prologue, which makes it kind of hard to find using the concordance, unless I can remember that it's called prologue, or unless I can just remember the page numbers. This is one of my favorite. When I first heard this, I was floored, and I actually did do a video, I think it was earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken. Excuse me. And I copied the original recording. And that time I actually did it with permission. Anyway, Simone Weil is from the book First and Last Notebooks, Supernatural Knowledge. He came into my room and said, "You poor wretch who understand nothing and know nothing, come with me and I will teach you things you have no idea of." I followed him. He took me into a church. It was new and ugly. I'll insert my own words. You know the kind. Those are actually Brad Scherzak's words. I'm copying his insertion. He led me before the altar and said, "Kneel." I told him, "I have not been baptized." He said, "Fall on your knees before this place with love, as before the place where truth exists." I obeyed. He led me out and up to a garret from whose open window one could see the whole town, some wooden scaffoldings, and the river where boats were unloading. He made me sit down. We were alone. He talked. Now and then somebody else would come in, join in the conversation, then go away again. It was no longer winter. It was not yet spring. Guess what I'll be doing when that same exact kind of season comes? That's what I'll be reading this probably, which I already have. I think I'll keep doing it though. It was no longer winter. It was not yet spring. The trees' branches were bare and without buds, in a cold air full of sunshine. The light rose, shone bright, and then faded, and the stars and moon shone through the window. Then the dawn rose again. Sometimes he paused and took some bread from a cupboard, and we shared it. That bread truly had the taste of bread. I have never found that taste again. He poured wine for me and for himself, which tasted of the sun and of the soil on which that city was built. Sometimes we lay down on the wooden floor, and the sweetness of sleep descended on me. Then I woke up and drank the light of the sun. He had promised me teaching, but he taught me nothing. We talked in a rambling way about all sorts of things, as old friends do. One day he said to me, "Now go away." I threw myself down, clung to his knees, begged him not to send me away. But he flung me out towards the stairs. I descended them as if unconscious, as if my heart was torn in shreds. I walked through the streets, and then I realized that I had no idea where that house was. I have never tried to find it again. I saw that he had come for me by mistake. My place is not in that garret. It is anywhere, in a prison cell, in some Borgias parlor full of trinkets and red plush, in a station waiting room, no matter where, but not in that garret. Sometimes I cannot prevent myself from repeating, in fear and compunction, a little of what he said to me. How am I to know if I remember it correctly? He is not there to tell me. I well know that he doesn't love me. How could he love me? And yet there is something deep in me, some point of myself, which cannot prevent itself from thinking with fear and trembling that perhaps, in spite of everything, he does love me. All right. Well, I don't know. I don't think I have any conversational type things to bring up. I actually do, but I feel a little funny saying it. Now, I'm not sure. There could be mixed opinions on this, even if I should even share it, but I'll leave out names. I was at work today. I was maybe I was getting ready to eat. I just pretty much sat down and kind of taking things out of my kind of duffel bag like lunchbox. And someone approached me and said, "Hey, Doug, can you do me a favor?" And it's kind of like a hushed tone so that maybe other people might not hear it. And this individual's like, how did he say this? I guess I gave away the gender. He was explaining that he had some car repairs, and I had just volunteered for overtime a few hours earlier for the weekend or for Saturday. He was asking me if I could unvolunteer so that he could volunteer because he has some need to make some money for car repairs. And the way that I was acting was a little bit like kind of, there's a little bit of a really in my eyes probably, but there's also a little bit of compassion, like I was thinking about it. And I kind of did say I would talk to my boss about it, but I thought I made it semi-clear that I'm not just going to blindly say, yeah, I'm going to I'm not going to work on Saturday because my boss is going to be on to me if I just come across like no reason, no rhyme. I've just changed my mind. They know better. They know I like to work, so it's like we'll see what happens. I'll think about it, type of a thing. Maybe not exactly those words, but uh, that's kind of the impression I'm pretty sure I left with him. And then lunch was over. We were doing a little stretches and stuff, which I need to do. And then he tells me that you don't have to do that. Because I did tell him also that I have snow tires and stuff like that I have to pay for, and it's actually quite spendy. I actually gave him an amount. I don't think I want to give you an amount. But I did kind of come across like I was like, thinking about it, which I was for a little bit. But like I said, I would do. I did talk. Well, by then I knew he had kind of let me off the hook anyway. But I still talked to my boss about a number of things. But I included that the fact that he did that, and my boss was made it pretty clear that it wasn't just the fact that it, well, kind of created that impression that it wasn't really because it was cut off uh, as far as like numbers of people, or that wasn't it. Probably was partly it, but that I was more experienced in a broader range of things, and that she wasn't even going to be there on Saturday. And so it was kind of, in a nice way, kind of, what's that word? Patronizing me in a good way, not really in an uncomfortable way. But to be honest, it made me feel kind of ick either way, because now it put me in a situational ethic type situation, situational ethic type situation. It put me in that kind of a bind because I have to choose myself or him. But kind of after talking to him and to my boss, it was more like, yeah, I'm coming in on Saturday like I originally stated, because it's voluntary overtime at this point. And I hope whoever I'm working with doesn't watch this video or stumble upon it. I don't think so. But I'd almost rather have someone yell at me. It's maybe not exactly. Maybe it's more like an even toss up. I'd almost rather get yelled at than someone approach me. I'm going to say it's a little debatable if that was passive aggressive, but if it wasn't, I think this person definitely has the capability of that trait. And I kind of know because I can kind of be the same way. Although I actually did make it clear I would never do that. I didn't say it quite like that, but I would never ask someone if you could unvolunteer so that I can. That's honestly, that was ick. To me, that was like, I've thought of other people that I thought were weird, honestly, and I thought I just unweirded a bunch of people. I'll change my mind. I'm sure I should probably slap my hand right now a little bit. It's almost bordering on gossip, but I am kind of venting. It's like, man, who does that? But I know I do weird stuff. I've been weird at work. I've been weird a little bit. I suppose we all have our days. I should be a little more understanding, but that got to me a little bit. And maybe some of the viewers think I should have just gave it to him, but I'm kind of like, I did think about it, but in the end, based both on circumstance and just kind of how I navigated it and how it almost navigated itself on autopilot, it was like, you can go to work on Saturday and put in your overtime, get the money. Hopefully it'll help pay for my snow tires and the rims, because I got to also, based on the help I was getting at the store, we're just going to go ahead and get the right sized, or at least closer rims on that car of mine. I think it's either the factory size, or it could be 1 inch difference. I don't remember, or I don't think I ever even clarified it. But yeah, right now, at least on the weekend when I drove my car in the snow and ice. Hey, I'm from South Dakota. I can do it. I know what I should expect because I had a Honda Accord very similar to the one I have now. But these tires are really sexy tires and they look really cool. But and they're supposed to be all purpose and be practical. But my experience on the snow was that they weren't. I don't know if it had something to do with how things were plowed too or not plowed. I don't know. It's much better in a couple days afterwards. It's like, man, should I have even went through with this? The thing is, I don't know what the weather forecast is going to be throughout the winter. And if I'm driving under that level of caution, and you don't have to, I can drive in the winter. I've done very well, but I could tell this was like, wow, I really have to be on guard. So I'm just going to go ahead and get snow tires. I maybe could have got some other all-purpose tires that were the right size, but I just went ahead and got snow tires. But anyway, that's my story. I don't know. I don't like it wasn't really a guilt trip, but it kind of did touch on facets of guilt. Apparently, I'm a hard worker. I am, as far as how often I choose to work, and I do work hard too, and try to work smart so it's not all just hard. But something about that kind of did trigger me. But apologies if someone happens to listen and they think it's uncalled for that I brought this up in my video. But it's all going to be fine. No one's going to be resentful or anything, I don't think. It's just one of those things. You know, things happen in the workplace. Maybe it was unnecessary for me to share it, but it's all good. It's all going to turn out. We'll all be working together. It's not someone I often work with on a close basis, but sometimes we get paired up. Depends on what the project is, but I think I was one of the first people to actually train him when this individual showed up to work. There's just always personality dynamics. It's fun. I can get along with just about anybody, so I don't want to put myself out there like this is like a big deal. But, you know, sometimes I want to be honest, and hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me in the butt. I kind of did feel like that was one of the times I'll probably remember. I mean, trust me, there's been much worse, actually. I think one gal called me Ducky Poo just out of habit, and I couldn't. I don't know if I ever tried to kill that habit, but she didn't last long anyway. But anyway, I probably better stop talking about work stuff. But I don't know if it's to that level. I may bring something like that up again. I don't think that one's going to happen again, though. Not exactly like that. But anyway, we'll call it a video. We'll call it a night too, because it's definitely time. Got to get up early and head out to work. So got to get my sleep in. So we'll see you in the next video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and support if you feel so inclined. And we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.